Got it. All righty. Let's see what we got going on. Mhm.
Hello.
Nope.
We are live streaming.
Okay, cool.
All right. Let me get, all right, what we got? Oh, we got 57. Look at that. Sell.
Okay. So everyone, good evening. It is 8 p.m. and 8:06 p.m.
I was
and
gonna say bye. It's 8:06.
8:06 p.m. I've been fact checked live.
That's right.
And so we're gonna just jump into this because we've got a few things, and I know a lot of you are gonna have questions, and I want to really leave the time open for questions because that's what I think makes us special, is that we answer your questions. We don't shut you down. We don't shut you down like Henry and Harry and Michael, and we let you ask your questions. And if we don't know, we try to find out. And I think that's what's kind of cool about our group. So yes, yesterday was the MLC decision where the unions and the Municipal Labor Committee voted to booing.
Yes, I am.
Voted to strip retirees of all of their 14 choices of healthcare plans, leaving only 2 on the table. The new one that they are creating, the Aetna Medicare Advantage plan, and the HIP VIP plan, which has been on the table forever. Actually, HIP VIP was founded in 1987. And yet it is also a Medicare Advantage plan. So that does tell you that the unions don't think it's important that retirees have a choice of plans or PPO plans or a different kind of variety of plans. They just want you to have a plan that they want you to have, ones that the city doesn't have to pay for. And that's exactly where that's coming from. So I would probably venture to say that many of you have already heard about this decision. You know how your local voted, because we did post that up. I know there was some confusion with that sheet that I made, but I redid it today, and I actually made columns, because I guess you guys were looking for columns. But at the top, I put the different categories and color coded them, and I did it alphabetically because I thought it would be easier for you to find that way. Today I did it over after talking with Michelle, having coffee this morning, and I did it by columns, the way I guess you're looking at it. So you've got those that voted yes, those that voted no, those that abstained, and those that were no shows, and it's kind of alphabetical or numerical order based on that. And the sad thing about that is that they had this vote, they had their presentation by Aetna on March 2nd. They didn't get the rest of the questions answered that were in their chat on that meeting on the 2nd until the 9th, late in the day. So most people probably wouldn't have seen it till Tuesday. It was somewhat comprehensive and several pages long, and it came across Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, they called this vote with first half hour, they did have a refresh up meeting with more questions and answers by Aetna, and then went right to the meeting for the vote. No discussion period, no conversation, no debate. Boom, this is what we're doing. And then it also became somewhat of a parliamentary issue, because the unions that abstained their vote because either they didn't have enough information or they were concerned that they wanted more time, or whatever their issue was, or they didn't believe that the MLC should be able to vote for them, abstained. And they were told that their abstentions don't count as a vote, it's a non-vote. And then that stirred up some debate. They were asking, Henry kept invoking parliamentary order, Robert's rules, And most of the unions are not really familiar with Robert's rules. There's no parliamentarian that seemed to be on that meeting. One of the unions who abstained asked, what's the weighted vote? Where's the bylaws? Like, no one seemed to have them. Henry was not happy with the gentleman from the PBA that asked for that information. And he's like, well, you abstained in voting. I don't have to give you that information. And the guy was like, well, I'm still a dues paying member of the MLC. Why shouldn't I have that information? So I'm going to say this. After understanding everything that transpired, the unions have an obligation after yesterday's farce of the MLC that they really need to ask a lot of questions, and they need to file complaints against the local, and I did against the Municipal Labor Committee. I also said in a video earlier today that Administrative Code 12-313 allows for any union with a collective bargaining certificate to make a complaint to Office of Collective Bargaining against the voting or membership structure of the MLC. And it has to be done in writing. You need to reach out to the Municipal Labor Committee. And if they feel that the vote is arbitrary, capricious, or discriminatory, and there's a lot of history there. And if any union is listening to this, you need to give us a call, because we would be glad to walk you through that. Or even better yet, if you have a labor attorney, and I don't mean your attorney is Harry Greenberg, the same lawyer as the MLC, or Alan Klinger, who's the same lawyer as the MLC, you need a whole different labor lawyer. Then you need to bring this issue and this code to your labor attorney and defend your union members and your union retirees, because just laying back and letting them do this doesn't make any sense. And I think I'll be so bold as tonight to say, if you don't have the cojones to do this, then you're allowing the Municipal Labor Committee, to unions and the committee, to just do whatever the heck that they want to do to you. And there's been a lot of chit chat over the last couple of weeks with unions asking us, should we still be members of the MLC? Well, the benefit of that would be, why are you paying dues to an organization that doesn't give you a equal valued or weighted vote of each other, where Michael is an emperor and Henry's an emperor, and whatever the two of them say, they all got to screw you with, whether you like it or not. So the union said to me, we want to get out of the MLC. I'm like, just write them a letter and tell them you're not paying dues. It's bylaws. Don't you have the bylaws? And they said, no. We don't have the bylaws. I'm like, how the hell do you not have the bylaws to your own organization? So yeah, so you guys got homework to do, you unions. Any unions listening to us tonight, homework. You make sure that the MLC gives you those documents and challenge that vote based on how they handled it. Also, I would get the minutes from the steering committee to find out exactly how they did that. Here's Michelle's word, the Fugazi vote in the steering committee meeting last week, because that wasn't supposed to be a vote last week either. And you were never given a contract. Once again, you're voting on a plan that you never saw the details of the contract. And it's just like me coming to you and saying, you know, hey, you should buy this great pen, and it's really cheap and it's got better benefits than your pen. Trust me, I sell pens all the time. It's really better than that other pen you use. Don't worry, my word is good. And then that pen. And you know what? Girl, we're from New York, right? We're familiar with the taillight guarantee, right? The guarantee is as good as for as long as you see my taillights. So I don't understand how the unions bought all that hook, line, and sinker, but they did. They never even got to see the contract. They don't know the details of it, and they just voted on it. So otherwise, stop paying your dues to the MLC. The unions need to stop doing that. The union's presidents are truly in control of that. If every union backed out of the MLC, it would just be Harry and Henry and Michael, and you guys could go start MLC 2.0 and make it more democratic and fair and really truly represent labor. So that's all I got to say on that. What's the next on our agenda? What's next? What's next? So you guys have been with us for a really long time. Legislation and litigation. So we are now just waiting to see what the city's going to do. Once we have full official notice about what's going to happen, then the attorneys will look at it. and prepare, what they believe would be our best case going forward, and what that would look like. And then once that gets started, we will share with you that information, but we can't do it too soon like the last time. We didn't do it, we keep a lot of the litigation stuff quiet because we know we're being watched. We know the unions watch us. We know the city watches us. We don't know who is in this board. It could be lawyers in the MLC, in the MLC, or in the OLR or the city of New York. So you've always got to be a little careful. But our board of our organization will go through that with our legal team and our advisors, and then tell you what the next steps are. We are starting next week, just so you know, in preparing for that, and we will have a homework assignment for you like we did last year. So if you 2 years ago, think back to fall of 21, because that's where we're going back to, and you'll have homework to do for them. So hang tight. That's the litigation. Legislation. So our Lady Warriors team is partnering up with another group of retirees that are very familiar with this, and our legal team and our advisors, and helping work towards legislating a fix. Now, the unions like to say, oh, well, we told the city to change the administrative code and you told them not to do it. Now you're telling them to do it. And we're like, no, dude. We said don't do your code, because while your code gives us choice, we're paying for choice. Our code does the right thing, which is what labor should have been doing to protect retired persons. So that'll come soon. As soon as we have a bill number,
That'll be more homework.
that'll be more homework. I might actually preempt that and start before the bill number, but give us till next week on that, sometime next week, because we're still working on the strategy on that one. Let's see, March 21st. Everybody, please put that date on your calendar if you are in New York City, and reserve that day if you are in New York, and we'll tell you why soon. Just if you're in New York, reserve the 21st, because you will be going somewhere. And my last part, I have 2 more things to say. The doctrine, right? So I really need a crystal ball for this.
I gotta get the magic 8 ball for that one.
Okay.
On the 21st. It's the day after the vernal equinox.
Okay, so we have developed the Mulgrew Doctrine. And the Mulgrew Doctrine is this: choice is defined as you will get an Aetna Medigap plan, but you are going to have to pay for it. Or you're going to lose your Medicare B lose your Medicare B reimbursement.
And right.
Plan. And if you're a teacher, yeah, you're definitely losing your UFT drug plan reimbursement. So understand something. The unions are playing all of you by saying, we're going to give you this plan. Michael said this in the RTC, the UFT retired teacher chapter meeting on Monday. He even said it in the MLC meeting. Michelle caught that while listening, because my ears totally skipped over that one. He said it several times. And what did he say? That right now the UFT is negotiating to give a Medigap plan to the teachers. After screwing every city employee and retiree out of their access of traditional Medicare with a Medigap, he is negotiating to give a Medigap plan to his teachers, because Michael's special. How the unions are not in uproar over this, I have absolutely no idea, but we had said that this was a potential that could happen, that he was going to do something to walk it back. And so what it appears is he's going to, there was another thing in the chat that we need to copy and say. I'm probably going to need to wrap my head and go get a crystal ball. But he's doing this on purpose, and he's looking to split and divide you. Many teachers are married to teachers or who make a lot of high income. And so he's saying that you should have choice because you could afford it. So he's going to tell you that we're basically what this organization has done, took away that choice. No, He wants to give you choice, but at a cost. And for most retirees, cost is not a choice. You can't afford to pay $200 starting premium per person per month, plus the drug plan on small pensions. And you all know that by now. Creating haves and have-nots, and we've all said that. What the beauty was of 12-126 is that it protected each of us equally. It said that under the law, all retirees, employees, retirees, and dependents had to have an equal benefit. They went away, as I said in my testimony in January, they moved away from the uniforms having one class of benefits and the civilians having another. This wasn't meant to be that way. And this bill this law gave us all healthcare equally, because healthcare is a human right. It's not right based on a uniform status or not. So what he's trying to do is pretty ugly, to say, yeah, I screwed everybody, but I'm going to try to give you this gift back. But you have to pay for it. But if we do give it to you, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to leave the city plan. You're going to lose your Medicare B reimbursement. Oh, and you're going to lose your drug. You have to go get a drug plan out on your own because you're going to lose the city drug plan. Oh, and because the UFT gives you that reimbursement, you're going to lose that too. So how is that really a gift or a benefit? This is what you guys don't understand when he says this. So don't fall for what he's saying that it is. He's getting you access to a Medigap. What he's saying is, after all of the advocacy and education that our organization put out, that he learned that there was another issue that was brought to his attention. Remember when we said that getting into a Medigap plan after getting into a Medicare plan, going from Medicare Advantage into Medigap, traditional Medicare, that if you did it outside of open enrollment period and you weren't in one of 4 states with guarantee issue, then you would have a problem getting into that plan. And because it isn't protected, Medicare is not protected like the American Affordable Care Act is, or known as Obamacare, that you would be subject to pre-existing conditions and examinations in order to get into a Medigap plan later. Knowing that you might be disabled or older with pre-existing conditions, you would have a hard time getting into a Medigap. And if you were able to get into one, the premium would be really high. So Michael on Monday said it was New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and thank you.
And Maine, and Maine.
So
Maine was the, right,
it's not,
and
he didn't say
Florida-
Maine. He didn't say Maine. He said, and thank you. And I didn't hear him say the state, but it's not New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It's New York, Maine, Massachusetts, and Connecticut are the 4 states with guarantee issue. So if you're outside of those states, and then I think he did say Florida was a communist state, right?
yes, he said,
Yes.
you're right.
and that would be one of the states that most harder to, and one state it's most hard to get back into a Medigap plan. But what he's giving you isn't a gift or a present or a backdoor. What he's trying to do, we think, is if he gives you this other option to get out of a Medicare Advantage plan and get a Medigap, you lose your access to everything else, all your other benefits. By taking it off of the city rolls, he's now saving the city more money and can use that towards value in his next collective bargaining. Like, look at how many people I got off the health plan.
Right. Somebody said Maine was mentioned later.
Oh, was it?
Yes, right. I knew he said Maine.
I didn't remember hearing him say Maine. I heard him say thank you. That's all I heard.
Right, and then he said Maine later.
Oh,
But-
you heard him. You had a better seat than I did.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Um,
And it would take 53 months for the communist state of Florida for them to work out a deal to get an Aetna plan in Florida.
53 months. That's a long
Right,
time.
That's 4 years. That's a little 4 years,
4.5.
4.5.
I don't know. Jack Weiss says, I'm in frequent contact with the Carpenters Union. I'm glad that they voted no this time. I will be questioning why we are still part of the MLC at our next union meeting. So that's a really good question, Jack. And I think what we're going to start doing is, you know, we've toyed around with this. Like, do we say start a protest, try to change the code, try to change the bylaws, try to change the voting structure, or just get the hell out. I mean, once you're out, you're out. You can always get back in, I guess, but when this started in 1967, the MLC, Teachers Union and Transit Workers 100 were not part of it. They didn't come in until the 80s. And part of the reason why was because Al Shanker was president of teachers and Victor Gottbaum was was executive director of District Council 37, and they really didn't get along. Al had his own way of doing things, and so did Victor, and they really weren't working well together. And TWU 100, to my understanding, doesn't really get many of their benefits or employee benefits from OLR, although they are some of them are city employees. Most of their stuff comes from the state. But the TWU came into the MLC in the 80s under the anti-smoking rule because they didn't like some of the rule changes for non-smoking in the facilities, and the city told then president, I think it was Jack Beagle, you need to really work with Victor Gottbaum on this, you should join the MLC. And I think it was a way to get them in. So that's why they joined later. And over the years, so in 1967, there was only 50,000 members in the District Council 37. Today, there's what, 150 or 190,000 members or 200,000 members. And that was another thing in the MLC yesterday. They refused to say how many members the unions had and who was in that count. Was it just actives or was it actives and retirees? Because in the UFT, retirees pay a dues. So I'm interested to see how they're manipulating the numbers, because the vote ended up at like what, 941 to 253 based on the weighted vote. But they weren't being transparent about the vote either. So before the unions decide you're going to get out of the MLC, make sure you file according to the bylaws. There are rules in the bylaws about how to challenge the weighted vote as to how many members are in what union, and then you have to do it a month before the next meeting. So I would start putting in those votes, that question in right now into the counts, into the committee, the way it's laid out in the guide, in the bylaws, as to ask for that to be stated. Ellen says, Henry won't give the member unions the list of the MLC unions. No, he won't. And I can't even get them by FOIL either. And apparently there continues to be confusion about this. The member union should demand this. And I will tell you, this is the second vote we heard, and they called 102 unions. There are 50 unions and there are 52 locals in the district council. So it's 102, and this has now happened twice. So to me, I would say that's pretty good cause that there's 102 unions in the municipal labor committee. Problem is, if you stop paying union dues in 831, you lose dental, vision, and any bargaining. No, Tom, I'm not saying stop paying union dues. I'm saying municipal labor committee dues. Let's make that distinction, because then they'll start saying we're union busting. But to be quite honest, there's a lot of education on that, because people who found that they were not happy with their local or their union, and they wanted to stop paying union dues. Before, you used to have to pay an agency shop fee. Well, there was a lawsuit a few years ago called Janus versus AFSCME that gave people the absolute right that if you weren't happy with your union, you didn't have to pay union dues, but they still had to give you the benefits. So I'm not really up on all the details on that, but if you Google that, that would be your homework. I don't want to go down that road. My statement, the only statement I am comfortable with making today is, if you do not feel the municipal labor committee is supporting you, that the union president should bring that up with their executive boards and take a vote of their members to determine if they should continue to stay in the municipal labor committee. Now, mind you, the more people that come out of the municipal labor committee, the better, because the chances are you won't be able to fund Alan Klinger's salary, Siegel's salary, all of their other whatevers. And then you start your own municipal labor committee 2.0. Several unions have asked us about it, and I keep telling them you got to go back to the original bylaw with the updated bylaws, which we just don't have. But there are unions that are not in the MLC, and they are still bound by what the MLC does. So the more people that they can get to go along with them, they really need to form coalitions. The better that would be. Make real change, because what they just did by completely restructuring the entire healthcare plan, diminishing all plans, what is there really left to negotiate? You don't really need a municipal labor committee anymore, right? They killed everything. What is there left to negotiate? The active workers plans, to our understanding, they're going to kill everything there too. They're going to put you in one plan. And then what? What's to negotiate? You don't have a stabilization fund anymore. You don't have an equalization rate between HIP and GHI, because they're probably going to kill Emblem Health. There's no GHI CBP. They're probably going to stick all of you into what did we say? They're going to try to force us into Aetna Medicare Advantage. They're probably going to strip all your healthcare plans away. They'll put you all active workers in a Aetna HMO or PPO, and then you'll all be on an Aetna drug plan and have some form of Aetna. That's like the craziest thing. But if I was a conspiracy theorist, I say that's probably exactly what Michael Mulgrew and Henry Garrido are working on right now. What does your crystal ball say about that?
Right. Okay, so we're just gonna clear something up real quick, because I'm watching stuff in the chat here, okay? Because people are getting confused with what he said at that RTC meeting, okay?
Okay.
And I'm just gonna tell you right now, and I just happened to get up at that precise moment of the 1 hour and 4 minute marker when this happened, okay? Because I am very diligent and I tick all this stuff, okay? I had to go to the bathroom, okay? So, yes, he was talking about all the states and everything else. And this is his exact words, okay? When he was talking about these Medigap plans and all these states, okay? And he says, if you don't live in those states and blah, 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 okay? And his response was, all right, hold on, I'm right here. It says, hold on, I just had it. Hold on. And we are looking, hold on. I just had it.
So Mulgrew's going to act like an insurance agent, creating a new Medigap plan for teachers who would have left city health coverage. Would that be legal? So Marcia, I really don't know, while Michelle's looking for the statement.
Right.
We don't really know if it's legal or not legal, but what he would be doing is creating an option that you could go into that I'm sure he's going to get a kickback on, or possibly get a kickback on. But it would require that you leave the city health plan, you lose your Medicare B reimbursement, you have to pay for the Medigap plan yourself. You would have to buy your own now drug plan, and you would lose your union drug reimbursement. I mean, how is that a benefit to you? I don't understand.
Okay. So when he discussed that over that, he says, we are trying to work on something right now that would be an exclusive program for our people, but I don't have it yet, and we don't have it yet. Remember, I said negotiations are not done. They are not. This is an issue that one of the issues that we're looking, that if people choose to go the traditional Medicare route, we want them to have an actual option of purchasing a Medigap plan. That was 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 39 seconds into the RTC meeting after he spoke about the 4 states. Okay, so I know, okay, so yes, he discussed it. All right, so we're going to clear that up right now. All right.
So he did say it, that he was going to do it. And the reason why is because we identified to them that if you go into a Medicare Advantage plan and it's not serving you and you want to get out, they negotiated away our senior care. There's no Medigap plan for you to go into, which would then require you to go on the outside and go get a Medigap. Once you go on the outside and get a Medigap, you disenroll from the city's plan. You're no longer in the city network. You now are paying Medicare B by yourself. You're paying for your supplemental Medigap on your own. Now, if you're a teacher and you don't have a welfare fund drug plan, you are paying for your drug plan on your own, and you're also losing your drug plan reimbursement, which I think last year paid you $840. So I'm sorry, where is that actually a benefit to you? He recognizes that you will potentially be harmed and cannot get into a Medigap plan, especially if you're in some states, if it's not November, and that there's pre-existing condition screens that you're going to have to go through, or you could pay a lot of premium. But his is his fix, is let me give you this, but it'll screw you in other ways.
Right. And then he goes on to say that they're trying to work with Florida because of the erroneous laws with the insurance down there. It can take up to 52 months to get something in place. So again, that is what he said.
Nimi Alperstein, he never explained what he meant when he mentioned Medigap, other than anyone who opted out would have to enter the pay up option and lose any reimbursements. Right now, there is no pay up option because he and Henry and Harry negotiated that away. They took the pay up off the table, especially because it violated the code. The administrative code does not allow you to pay up if the plan is under $918, the HIP HMO cap. So if the law states, the one that we protected, that's been protecting us for 55 years, that the city will pay the full cost of health insurance up to the HIP HMO rate, which is $918, for every employee, retiree, and their dependent. And what that means is because our little tiny plans that pay less than 20% are like $200, we would never have to pay up because they're not past the 918. If they're under 918, the city pays for it. If it's above the 918, we pay the difference. Because our plans are not over that threshold, we would never pay. So what did Michael do, and Henry do, and Harry do? Eliminate all of those plans that the city would have had to pay for so that he could get his raise. That's exactly what they did. And he's not saying it to you that way. And by saying what he did say, that's exactly why you were confused, because you weren't understand when he said enter the pay up option. He said you could have choice, Nimi, if you paid for it. Sorry, I don't want the city to pay for you anymore, is what he's telling you.
Right. You know, so again, it's that double talk, you know, forked tongue, however you want to explain it, you know, and unfortunately it's just horrible, you know, but you know, again, this is what, you know, I do. I sit here and I listen to this stuff, and every time I can get on, and I make sure that, you know, I diligently listen, and you know, and it sucks that I have to listen and hear all this and, you know, and transcribe it.
But that's exactly what he's saying to you, is he wanted to save the city from having to pay. And if you remember that little 55-second video that's on our channel that he was in one of his meetings, his UFT meetings, he said, the city said to us, if you give us back that 20% plan, our Medigap, we'll give you that money that we would have spent on them to the $600 million to your welfare funds. He sold us off for money. And this is why we keep saying this over and over and over again. Not only did he sell off a current retiree, he sold off employees' future benefits. And he didn't even tell them. And then he convinced the other unions to go along with it. And Henry isn't any better because he went along with it. He made that deal because he wanted to be able to get raises and do tiered hospitals, which is coming, by the way. He wants to tier hospitals, and we are understanding through the grapevine that's coming too. What does tiered hospitals mean? Like HHC hospitals would have no copay, and then all the other hospitals would have an increasing copay going up. That's his way of saving money. They need to go. So I think you guys, if your active unions are on this page, and we're getting a lot of active employees, and welcome, because we want you to know what's going on. And we keep telling you, fact check the hell out of us what we're saying, especially when we're talking about the healthcare plans, like DC 37, they haven't shown you a contract yet. They're asking you to ratify the contract. They refer in number 5 that premium-free healthcare is still for employees because of the municipal labor agreement. Which one? They're not even telling you which one it is, or that it's rolled into your contract. Do you know what it did? Do you know that by signing and ratifying your contract, they're dangling that $3,000 sign-on bonus to you and the retro pay of 6%? But you just sold off your future healthcare and us. But they're not letting you see it because then you wouldn't do it. So we have to say it and keep saying it so that maybe you listen. and you ask the questions. Just ask. Henry needs to give that contract to you. Don't ratify that contract unless you see everything. Sherry Schleckman, Marianne, are you saying that there will be no insurance for Floridians? We are not part of this map. I'm confused. No, Sherry, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the Municipal Labor Committee's plan is to eliminate all healthcare plans and enroll you into the new Medicare Advantage plan that they renegotiated. And or put you, opt into their HIP VIP plan that's been there, but you live in Florida, so you can't have that plan. It has no coverage in Florida. Michael was trying to negotiate, he intimated to his members at the retiree meeting, he was negotiating a special plan for retired teachers because getting into a Medigap in Florida, he said, would be difficult if you wanted to get out of the plan. But he also wasn't making it crystal clear to you that by doing so, you lose all your benefits. That's what I'm saying. Judy, Joanne Letty Pocha, Mulgrew said he is now working on the active healthcare. Yes, they put out that RFP to create a national plan. If they have a national plan, they don't need the other 11 plans. That will be the one plan for you other than HIP HMO. You will have 2 plans. Mark my words. We kind of think that that's the theory. And if you don't believe us that he is negotiating away healthcare, Michelle and I at least have been saying this for the last year and a half. You let them do this to us, they're coming after you next. And they're coming after you now. Tom Creasy, right, I understand that, but many active workers want to stop paying the union dues, but can't because of those benefits alone, especially since the majority of us want Harry out for the bullshit. Tom, under that case, you need to Google that case. They cannot end your benefits if you stop paying union dues. I don't want to get into that here because I don't want that to be the focus of today, but Google search Janus, Janus versus AFSCME. This was a union man who sued his own union to stop paying dues because he didn't believe what they were doing, didn't believe in what they were doing. And yet the court said they still had to give you the benefit without you having to pay for it. And there's a lot, Henry complains all the time, like over 10,000 DC 37 members don't pay dues. So, and that should tell you that you need to change the way you're working because your people are feeling disconnected from you. Be a better leader, then they would pay dues. I think that's really what that case was about, but that's another story. Tom, we can talk about that offline. Mulgrew is really making it difficult with no choices. Let's continue to fight. We are, Evelyn. We have a couple things in the fire that we're looking at doing, but it's got to give us a little time. And remember, we can't really do anything until we've actually been harmed. Right now, there's a speculation of harm, but we've, the legal team and the advisors have all been planning this because we kind of figured that they're going to take this sleazeball approach, and so it doesn't come as a shock to us, unfortunately. Right?
Yep.
Carol
But
Blum
the thing to be mindful of is that when we started this group, there were just a few of us, and we were like, we're really tiny. We're the David against Goliath, the city. We were not sure what was going to happen. And the city figured we were going to lose. They were going to run over us with the steamroller. And here we are. We're doing fine. Don't panic yet. Maybe later, but don't panic now. We're doing just fine.
Yeah. Mimi, you asked another question. The UFT claims that they de-seed, and that I'm not sure what that means, and only offer one plan map, but they actually offer 2 plans, HIP VIP. Yes, I know what you're saying. Yes, he said that the judge said that they only had to offer 1 plan, but they're offering 2. So you're correct on that. If they offer 2 plans by their own argument, can't they offer the Medigap category floored by their own argument? Absolutely. But what they want, they're not saying out loud is they only want to offer you a plan that's free because Medicare Advantage plans are paid for or subsidized by the federal government. They don't want to offer a plan that the city would have to pay for, which would then, what they're trying to do is go around the law that that 12-126. That's exactly how they're going around it. They have to get around the judge's order somehow to save the city money so that they can get their raises and save the city money, and you get screwed. Anthony Manzella, I hope New York City can't hire anyone. That was the main reason I came to NYPD, because of health insurance and pensions. Me too, brother, right? You guys as well. I don't know why I'm confused about this, but I thought that active members must first ratify their contract before the MLC can ratify health benefits connected to the contract. I don't know about that, Laura. I don't know about that. My old local 1930 of DC 37 voted yes. I emailed to say how sad I was that they voted for misinformation and how they should be sure as to dear old Henry what their premium free health care will consist of precisely. Thanks for all you guys are doing. Hugs and kisses. Well, hugs and kisses to you too. Marcia says in New York State, I believe the Department of Financial Services has to license insurance brokers. If Mogul starts steering folks towards a specific Medigap, we should at least alert the DFS, but they weren't helpful when I filed a complaint against them about co-pays. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's where the illegal comment came in, that they said it would be illegal to steer people into one plan, but.
That could be. So
Rose, go ahead.
No. So she said, and I was asking you this earlier, Ellen says, oh, the DC 37 actives mad about eliminating the med team.
So we heard a rumor, which
Right.
really wasn't a rumor because it came from a city person, that Emblem Health negotiated away DC 37 med team. So if there's a DC 37 staffer on here that can confirm that DC 37 gave away their DC 37 med team, which was subsidized by the city, that's your give back. That's a pure give back. Can anyone ask that question in DC 37? If there's any DC 37 union leaders in here or active workers, please confirm with District Council 37's Henry Garrido or Rose Lavaglio that they did not negotiate away DC 37 med team, that DC 37 med team will be here next year, the year after, 2 years, 5 years from now, because it's been here since like 1960 something. George Rosa, I feel 21 years of New York City service has been a waste of my future. Shame on the MLC and union president. And you know, George, there's probably a lot of you that feel that way because you never would have thought unions would have done this. And I'll tell you, unions of yesterday wouldn't. These union leaders have lost their way, and it's really up to today's active workers to bring them back full circle. And it's up to us to keep fact checking and sending out the truth and sharing information to educate them to listen, because look at what this organization did, what all of you did. When we first did this in this last vote, there's been like what, 3 or 4 votes now. The last September vote to change the code only had 11 unions that voted no. This time we had 26. So
Right.
We made a change. We doubled what we did, more than doubled what we did the last time. And that's really important because that was because of all of you. And we would never have gotten here if it wasn't for that. Every time we give you his homework to call the unions and fill up their inboxes. I mean, I heard Anthony Wells was complaining at over 500 emails in his mailbox. Well, boo-hoo Anthony Wells, you know, shame on Anthony, because Anthony, who's an attorney and a social worker, should have had more common sense what difference between Medicare Advantage and traditional Medicare. What he's basically saying is he's another emperor. He thinks he knows everything, and he wasn't caring about looking into it. And he just wanted to be loyal to the union without being loyal to the people who put him in that position. And that's the problem. Marianne, are you saying only the states you mentioned will have MAP? No, Sherry, you will have, if the union's plan goes through and we are unsuccessful at fighting it, you will have Medicare Advantage everywhere, although not every doctor will take it because it has a network. Sherry, what we're saying is that you will have a difficult time getting into a Medigap plan, like your senior care plan. That's the only difference, is getting out into a Medigap. And because of the way that the unions did this, if you choose to stay in traditional Medicare and go into Medigap, you lose all your reimbursements and potentially your drug coverage. That's what we're saying. Patricia Pan, the UFT cannot diminish benefits of seniors without also doing the same for active. Yes, we know, which is why we keep saying that we think they're going to do the same thing to get away with this, because he knows he has to, or he will be in violation of moratorium. So that's why when Michelle and I kind of like wink, wink that they're coming after the actives, it's not a joke. We believe, based on this state law, they are going to diminish retiree plans. They're trying to do that now, but they have to equally diminish it to an employee. So if they're diminishing all of our choices, they're going to diminish all the choices of an active. If they're sticking us in one plan, guess what? They're going to have to stick all the actives in one plan too. So I mean, this is based in pretty real fair logic, or he is going to be subject of a moratorium violation. Artie Lester, hey Artie, Florida must have more city retirees than any other state, and it doesn't look good for us. It doesn't look good for anybody that you should be doing this.
Right.
Paula Abdullah Schwade, which states are included in this new plan? Paula, it is a national PPO plan, which means it's everywhere. It's just not accepted by every doctor. And we'll get more into that as more information comes out. I know for some of you, you haven't been here with us since we started this fight in the summer of 21. But for those of you that have, try and help us educate those that are newer when we're going forward, because we're just going to repeat all the things that we did and probably come up with a few others, but we've been down this road before. So strategy for us, this should be a little bit easier because we've been down this road now twice. But they allege that their plan is a national plan and that it is a PPO. And even though they're only saying, and this is the key words, that 88% of the doctors that we currently see are in the plan, they're not saying out loud how many doctors nationwide are in the network. Okay, so that listen to the play on words. 88% of the doctors that retirees currently see are in the network. And then they say, well, because it's a PPO, you can be out of network, which means now it'll be up to us to ask, are you in the network? And then they'll say no. And then we'll say, will you accept the plan for payment? They'll either say yes or no. So they're going to go through some of these things as they start to do their implementation, which we will be watching like a hawk. Because that then becomes part of the further litigation. So don't worry, you'll have more information. Right. If DC 37 retirees opt out, do we still keep our drug and dental? Yes, because that's a welfare fund coverage.
Right. So again, please just don't start to panic. Again, we've been down this road before. Some of you have not been with us at the beginning. And
yeah.
And we'll walk you through it like we did, we learned from it, and we will, walk you all that are new to this and help you with it.
Sherry, I think you're really getting anxious and nervous because all of your questions are like doomsday questions and they really shouldn't be. No one is telling you any of the things that you're asking. Breathe, girl, come on. George Rosa, feel like the MLC, are planning on union busting from within. Who is going to want to work for the city if the benefits are trash? And you know something, honey, you kind of have a good comment there, because I don't understand why any of the unions are not fighting back on what this labor leader is doing. Carol, I have no idea what he's working on, because all we can tell you is we've heard him talking about it in 3 or 4 separate places. Susan Bazile, are you saying this plan is not good in Florida? Susan, we're not saying anything about the plan in Florida. We're just telling you what we heard Michael Mulgrew say.
Right.
Christine Earl Goddard, who pays for Medicare Advantage plan? Is it subsidized by the government? Isn't the city required to pay for a plan for according to 12-126? So who pays for Medicare Advantage plan? The federal government pays the insurer to administer the healthcare plan so they don't have to. That's called privatization. Is it subsidized by the government? Well, we call it a subsidy, but they actually pay the insurer to administer it. Isn't the city required to pay? Yes, they are. Want to give a wink? Is it time to increase our donations to continue this fight? If we're going to court, yes.
As treasurer, let me tell you, we're gonna need a lot of money in order to wage this battle.
Yeah.
It's not free.
Josephine Pissarro, Marianne, does that mean Florida will be able to keep the current plan since it will take so long to figure Florida out? No, they eliminate, your union president eliminated all of that. And when Michelle said it was 53 months to get a Medigap, that came from Michael Mulgrew. We haven't even fact checked that. So again, listen to where it comes from, Michael Mulgrew. So
Right.
It didn't come from Marion and Michelle.
Right. So again, this is what he said at the RTC meeting. This is what he said at the MLC meeting, and that he was working some side deal with Aetna. Okay, so again, as far as, when it concerns what's going on here, all plans have been pulled off the table as of right now. It was voted on yesterday. The only plans that are available will be this new Aetna map, the HIP VIP, which is only available in the 5 boroughs and Nassau, Suffolk, and Westchester counties. And if you opt out, then you lose your Med B and you have to buy a Medigap plan on the outside. So you have to give up your benefits and you lose your Med B or your IRMA and your welfare benefits and all that stuff. And that is that. So again, we are looking at litigation, but again, we can't do anything until we see the contract from Aetna. We don't know what's going on because again, nobody has said officially since the vote.
What's going to happen? You have to wait to hear it from the city.
Right.
Elise Moyes, can you post a list of MLC unions who voted no? That's already on our website. Look for an image. We posted that, I think, yesterday and today.
Right.
Karen, did Aetna make a condition of providing the Medicare Advantage plan that there could be no senior care competing? I don't know because we haven't seen the contract, but I will tell you that it was the MLC that agreed that there would be no plans, no alternative plans. Helen Trop, I can't stand living in Brooklyn now. I'm stuck here. I don't understand. You're not stuck there. You can go anywhere you want, Helen. You don't have to stay in Brooklyn. You can live anywhere you want to live.
Right.
Does that mean Floridians' plans will not change? No. I'm so sorry that you feel this confusing. Take out everything you heard about Florida because all that came out of Michael Mulgrew's mouth. Just forget it all. All he was trying to say is Florida is a crazy state because he doesn't like DeSantis. And he went on some crazy rant about that. And that Florida is a horrible state and you can't get into a Medigap plan if you want to. Basically what he's saying, Josephine, is that he's acknowledging by forcing all of us into Medicare Advantage, we're going to get screwed if the plan doesn't work for us. And because he negotiated away our safeguard of having senior care staying in traditional Medicare, he wanted to find a way for you to have easy access to pay to keep a Medigap plan or get one on the marketplace, since knowing that Florida, he says, I have no idea if this is true, would give you a hard time getting into a Medigap if you wanted to. But getting into a Medigap would then require that you lose everything, okay? So this is Michael saying this. understand that. And that's important for you to make the distinction. When this organization tells you something that we state, we fact check and cite it. We haven't fact checked Michael on that yet. It's coming, because we've just been really busy. But all he was saying basically in a nutshell is, I'm sorry if the plan I'm giving you is not going to help you, but if you want to opt out and go into another Medigap plan, it'll probably be really hard for you to do so. So I'm going to negotiate a Medigap plan for you, but you're going to have to pay for it. And if you do that, you're going to lose all your other benefits. Does that make it more clear?
Okay, so according to Ellen Monshine, she's saying you will not lose your welfare fund benefits if you leave city plans, according to the UFT Welfare Fund Assistant Director in writing to her yesterday. You want to answer that, Marianne?
Say that one more time. I was multitasking.
No, Ellen Monshine said, she's telling me that you will not lose your welfare fund benefits if you leave the city plans, according to the UFT Welfare Fund Assistant Director in writing to her yesterday.
You will not lose your union welfare fund benefit.
UFT Welfare Fund benefit if you leave city benefits.
Right, but your drug plan isn't in the welfare fund. Your drug, you pay for your drug plan and you buy the rider as a retired teacher.
I think she might be referring to the reimbursement that we got recently for $840.
Michael said that in the audio. If we understood that correctly, it was a question asked by Susan Police, and he said you lose the reimbursement.
And that might be what she's referring to.
I didn't make that up. We listened to that like 3 times today.
I just know, I don't know. I just, you know, again, each union is different.
I would just say annoy the hell out of the UFT at this point.
Right, UFT, any, you know, I just know when you leave city benefits, any union that leaves, because I know if I left DC 37, I would get nothing from them.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Sandra Robertson is HIP VIP still on the table. Well, HIP VIP is still a Medicare Advantage plan, and it's only available in like 8 counties of New York. Gerald Nelson, when the controller sees the Aetna contract, in order to approve it, we can then see it if it hasn't been publicly released. We have to ask for it, which we've done. But as soon as we see it, I'm sure we'll share it, like the last time. Do Active realize that copays for using CityMD on April 1 doubles from 50 to 100? I'm sure they're going to find out soon, because the UFT just put that out in an email, and the bloggers have been blogging about it. Yep, we all have to fight. That's really probably the main argument here, is we still have to fight to protect ourselves. Wendy says, I'm still shocked that Mulgrew, et cetera, started this whole thing after Janus. I am too, because why would you disassociate a large portion of your members, active and retired, in the light of this situation, when they can actually start defunding their own unions? This to me will cripple labor. This is not what this was supposed to be about. Labor unions should have had more of a moral compass than this. This will cripple them. And if it doesn't, I would be shocked. Thank you, Evelyn. Being patient and waiting, because as we learn, you know, if you've been with us long enough, we share everything that we get. We share it when it comes through official channels, and we also tell you when we've heard speculation. But you hear it and you learn it how we learn it.
Right.
How can active workers support or help to prevent this? So Debbie Brower, that's a great question. We need active workers to start listening to this message and start pressuring their unions, because their unions are negotiating and watering down their healthcare benefits right under their nose. They're not looking at their future healthcare. They're not even cognizant of it because life is so stressful for them as just everyday workers with families. They need to listen loud and clear what's happening to us. And they also need to note that every time that the unions impose copay or a prior authorization or a deductible or a premium or whatever, that is a diminishment of their health benefits. So they have to understand that. They're thinking the insurance company is doing this. It's not the insurance company doing it. The insurance company is only doing what the unions are telling them to do. Margaret Plack, if we cannot do anything until we can demonstrate harm, does that mean we cannot contest until they actually implement? It's actually, we start when they announce it officially. But remember, you have 4 months statute of limitations to actually file a brief, and it does take a little while for the lawyers to write it up. Rosalie Isolde, I live in New York City. If HIP VIP would be a choice versus Aetna, where can we read the comparison? So confusing. It's really not that difficult. Go onto OLR's website and you can read about HIP VIP there. Just understand it is an HMO Medicare Advantage plan. So you have networks, you have to use their doctors, you still have copays, the whole 9 yards. So I think you need to evaluate both plans. But trust me, we will all walk you through all of this. If this is going to be forced down our throats, we're hoping that we have different, we'll have time and be able to go through all this. Like the last time, while we were still fighting this, we were still teaching you about what it would look like if we had to be in it, because we have to do both because of the time frame. So we understand that. You will hear from us because we will have to start educating you very quickly as to what it would look like if we had to be in it, but we're also fighting it at the same time. Our DC 37 actives mad about them eliminating MedTeam. You know, Ellen, I don't even think they realize it's happened. Why the smoke and mirrors by the MLC? It's their best option for their members. I think because they don't want their members to know the truth, because one of the things that we heard was that the union leaders didn't want it getting out about how they voted. So I think because they're probably not telling their members what's happening, they're making these decisions on these last minute votes without trying to stop this runaway train. And they don't want to go back to their members and say, this is what I did, or this is why I did it. And I bet you they haven't done their homework to research both the difference between Medicare Advantage and Medicare. And they don't want to admit that either. Naomi Cooper, Mulgrew said that all doctors in the Aetna network would be available to us, but if this is an Advantage plan, many doctors will opt out. How can we plan for our health care? So this is why we keep saying you have to wait. We have to wait and see what will happen, and we need them to provide us with the plan to actually see how many doctors are in it.
But also the doctors that are in today might not be in 6 months later or a year later or whatever. So they can change, fluid.
Did all the members of the MLC vote on this without seeing the details of the scam? I mean, plan, Melanie Klein. Yes, they saw a summary. They never saw the contract. Absolutely correct. Never saw the contract.
It was based off a theory.
So Susan says, I'm sorry to hear about your husband. My dad is a retired NYPD in Florida. I went on the PVA website and didn't see anything. They abstained from voting. I don't understand why they are so quiet. Neither do we. Because Pat Lynch has had a habit of screaming about everything, but this he seems to be real damn quiet on. There's 541 folks on this update. Let's up our game and show. Oh my gosh, we're over 500 people.
Yeah.
let's up our game and show our support for our fearless leaders. After this update, all 541 folks should donate $20 to our legal fund. Yay, baby. Yes, Len, thank you. I love you.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching.
Ruth and Grayson, are we contemplating another legal case? Yes. Lainey Kit, you never steered us wrong. I'll wait to hear your direction. Lainey, we try not to be wrong, right? We always try to be hopeful. You guys have been with us for long enough now. We can never predict the future, and we can never tell you we're going to win. I mean, we've won 10 times so far in incremental different parts of these cases, right? I can't tell you we're going to be able to keep that momentum, but damn, we're going to try, and we'll never know if we don't try. And for as tired as we are in this thing, I don't know about you, but I'm not okay with giving up. I need to make sure that I did everything that I possibly could to help this team and you guys make sure that we have a fighting chance. Even if we lose at the end of the day, I don't think we lost because we made history with what we did. And if we go down, we're going to piss the hell out of all of them in the process. But you don't go down without a fight, ever. And that's what we keep trying to tell you. You'll make me cry. I'm UFT and my husband PBA, and we are both furious. So
The other thing, Marianne and Michelle and everybody listening, as I understand it, at the meetings, there was something raised about people who, let's say, one spouse is Medicare and the other one is too
For
young
families.
for Medicare, and they refuse to address that situation.
oh
Yep.
my gosh, you're right. So
Yes,
one union president actually said, can you tell us how the split family plan would be? What would that look like? And Henry said, that's not a conversation for this meeting. This is just about Medicare Advantage. That's not important. We're like, dude, that's the whole other half of the equation.
It's important to those people.
mm-hmm.
I know. Evelyn Garcia Dahmers, I've been with you since 2021. Thank you, girl.
Mhm.
And I've been sitting in this seat for so many nights that I got a crater in it from my butt.
And I'd like to make another point clear. Usually when you donate to some sort of a cause, the people running the organization are taking some of that money.
Yeah,
This is all volunteer work. Nobody is getting paid who works for this organization. Every one of us on the board is a volunteer.
yeah. And she can tell you how hard we work. When I was in New York City last week, I stayed on her sofa bed. She went to bed with me on my phone and on my computer, and she woke up with me the same position.
And I yelled at her.
And she did. She's like, do you ever stop working? I'm like, no.
And she works for no money.
I know. Like the union should be like taking pay reductions. They're union presidents, let me clarify that. Because Henry making like, you know, almost $500,000 is ridiculous. And Michael Mulgrew, the same thing. Nimi Alperstein, new in-service teachers are required to remain in HIP for the first 2 years. For the first 2 years? I thought it was
Yeah.
1 year.
No,
Teachers
they moved it to
do?
2.
I think
And-
they
and-
changed it.
And I think in November, when we're on that MLC meeting, they said they were looking to move it to either 3 years or more.
Right.
Because it didn't make enough money that they thought it was going to.
Mary Ann, can something be written up that we can copy paste on our social media platforms? We need to let active members really understand what they will be in for the future. You know what? Go over to our YouTube channel. Actually, wait a minute. We did a video on this. Didn't we do a welcoming video on our healthcare page?
Yes, we did. You did.
So if
yeah.
you go to our website, nycretirees.org/healthcare, I think I did like a mini wrap up video, like a condensed, like under 5-minute video that kind of tells everyone like, welcome to the page and this is what happened. See if that's sufficient for you, and then just share it off of our website because that goes right to YouTube. Gerald, we would definitely have to file something before September. We are in March. I'm going to assume they're going to probably try to put this out quickly. And I would say probably before the end of March. So even if you said beginning of April, May, June, July, August, we would definitely have to do this before September. If I stay in Medicare, do I still get my drug plan from the PBA? Yes, you're supposed to still get your welfare fund benefits. Alexia Dene, I need THC. Well, if you're in New York, there's plenty of illegal weed stores.
Yeah, I know, right? They're all on the Upper West Side.
Ellen, do you want to put up the bat signal for more moderators and helpers with answers on the Facebook page? The moderators have been pressed to keep up with the new members. If any volunteers would like to volunteer to be a moderator on our page, please reach out to Mike Tambasco or one of the other moderators and express your interest in being a moderator on the page. As our numbers grow and we're over 20,000 people, we can surely definitely use that help.
Ooh, excuse me.
Barry Skolnick, does Part D reimbursement only apply to those in Part B, or does it also apply? There is no Part D reimbursement to my knowledge. The only people that would get some drug reimbursement that I'm aware of is UFTers in the welfare funds.
Right.
Maureen Catherine, I'm newly retired UFT. Thanks for all you're getting the information out. You are welcome. And since you're newly retired, we're counting on you to share with your active co-partners over there all of our information. I know. I think we're running way over time on this. What is the date on the hearing for co-pays? Are there any other dates for our next action? I believe it's the end of the month, William, is for the co-pay case.
So we're on the May docket.
Oh, we're on May? I thought it was the end of the month. Or maybe it was the end of the month for our brief to be in.
Yeah, at the end of the month, the brief's supposed to be in, but I thought I saw something in the papers that said we're on the May docket.
I think you're right.
Right.
Please clarify, if the welfare fund comes from the union, how can it continue if I choose to stop paying union dues, UFT dues? Thank you for your commitment. Welfare fund benefits are prescription, vision, and dental. Under the law, they cannot reduce your welfare fund benefits or your union benefit because you stop paying a union dues to them. The only thing that they can do is if your dues is connected to something like you're voting in their election or a catastrophic plan, that you would lose, because that's how they're tying you to the union and paying dues, because they're trying to get you to stay. So they tie your loyalty to something you want to keep. How do I find out if you are getting my Zelle? Alexia, what you can do is email Michelle and she could tell you if we're seeing the Zelle because we get an email every time. And then
What was the last name?
Dunay, D-U-N-A-Y.
And when was it done?
Alexia?
Mhm. Alexia.
Mhm.
What was her date?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Hold on.
Okay,
She's
Oh.
able
See
to
it,
search
March
it by
9th.
email.
I got it, March 9th. We got it. I see them.
March 9th, Alexia.
The last one was the 9th. Thank you. Thank you for your donations. I see them all.
Harriet, I've been donating $50 per month from the beginning and will continue donating. Thank you, Harriet. And that's a quick update too. So for some
Thank you.
reason, we think that the Pony Express is going from Florida to the accountant in Georgia, and we think the pony is walking backwards. So that's why the
No,
delay.
it's a Palmetto Pup. It's a Palmetto
Pup.
Pup.
So the mail goes from one PO box to another PO box. So that it's not, no one's touching it, but for some reason, I think it's being sent here in a vehicle driving in reverse. I know where the accountant called us the other day and said, he deposited everything he had. And then all of a sudden he got another big dump of checks from February. He was like, oh my goodness. So just be patient. We can't do anything about this. It's just that we had to change the PO box and the post office has whatever internal rules. I bet, I don't know. They must hold a bunch of them and then they ship them all off at once, but they're coming in. So just hang tight. Can the unions who voted no be lobbied to help support litigation to stop this? We're actually working on that. And if you would call your union and if they were one of them, please ask if they would come on support, because it would be helpful if they heard it from you guys.
also the ones who abstained.
Yeah, they probably need to get them on board too. Did the MLC have a charter or base rules when it was created? Where does it get its power? So Brian McKenna, great question. The MLC was legislated in 1966, 67. There's a bylaws and there is administrative code that gives it its power. And I honestly don't remember, but if you go to the New York Municipal Code and you put in Municipal Labor Committee, you will probably find like the statute. There's like 2 or 3 of them. I want to say it's probably like 303, 12-303, and I think 12-313, the one that I was mentioning before. Michael Molescrew. That's great. Thank you, Helen. We're with you too. Bless you as well. Bernie Hoban is asking for the link to donate. So if you go to our website, www.nycretirees, you'll see our menu there. And then just click donate, subscribe. You can donate and subscribe to the newsletter. Hi, I remember March of 2021, we didn't get pushed into the Alliance map. We didn't have to pay the $191 a month, and they had to stop charging us co-pays. And look at how much stronger and smarter we have become. Thank you. It's not over. Donate. Annie Nesta, it is not over. And like we always say, we can't tell you however these cases will end up, but we're not just going to lay down. We're going down fighting. Any idea when you'll see the contract? No idea, but we're asking.
I was still waiting.
When you go to court, is it to safeguard employees also? Debbie, that's a very good question. Retirees cannot negotiate for themselves, and we cannot negotiate for employees. Unions have the collective bargaining right for employees. So I need to make that crystal clear. A union can sue us or kill legislation that usurps their collective bargaining power. So if you are an active worker, that must be taken up with your union, because this case, this fight won't help you. What will help you is our messaging and our advocacy that you can use to show, to bring back to your fellow active workers and your unions. But unfortunately, Taylor law prevents exactly that. Bottom line, I don't want the map. I will have to pay for traditional Medicare and my Medigap secondary. And that's the other option we're trying to forego. We don't want to see that happen. So Roni Reen says, do you know if I take the Advantage plan, do I have to take the optional rider for the prescription for Aetna? That's part of the screwed up thing on this. Yes, it's from what we understand. We believe that the way that they framed that yesterday, you will have to buy their drug rider, which for the first year was $103 and change. And then the second year it goes up to $135. They definitely are made a mess of this whole thing by giving Aetna everything. And Elterman, was Judge Lyle's decision hurtful to us, allowing the city to offer only one plan? And the judge didn't say that. That is a misnomer. Hope we're saving all your vids for the inevitable documentary. You rock. Judy, I think I've got well over 100 videos on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel. So go up, make sure you all go up and subscribe to our YouTube, because as we put them up, you'll be watching. Because here's the deal, Aetna already said that not only did they have public service announcements, they also made video testimonials from a bunch of cops and whatever down in Florida to say how much they love their Aetna Medicare Advantage plan, and that those are all going to be playing. So expect to be bombarded on social media with those, or on your union website. Robert Benkowski, I don't know if you saw it, but our article in the New York Times came out today, and great job. And I hope you're feeling good. Barbara Hiss-Nielsen, why would you have to lose everything when you purchase a Medigap plan on the outside? Because the unions don't have to pay for it. We would be paying for it, and we would keep traditional Medicare, which the union so pay for. So why would we lose? Barbara, you get your Medicare B reimbursement because you're in a city plan. If you opt out of the city plan, you lose your Medicare B reimbursement. Any information on what will be happening to the retirees medical that are not 65? Gavin, they refuse to discuss that. Henry Garrido absolutely said, we're not talking about any under 65 plan. So, but trust me when we tell you through the grapevine, we've been inquiring because we want to know, especially since he said that. And we're hearing that that RFP will probably come to a conclusion very soon and will be in effect for 2024.
Right.
Yes, the UFT Welfare Fund covers dental and vision. Marcia says, I think the UFT members here are confusing the prescription rider with the optical and dental plans we get from the UFT Welfare Fund. I think you're right, Marcia. Kathleen says, will spouses of retirees currently on Medicare continue to be covered? Yes, unless the unions decide to sell that off too.
Or unless they're under 65.
No, they're still, that's still a dependent.
Okay, okay.
Yep, they're still a dependent. The city is still required to pay for all of that. And I've annoyed the UFT for over 44 years. Well, don't stop now. Trudy, UFT, if you leave, also you lose your catastrophic, right? So if that's what I was saying, is you do lose your catastrophic plan, but I've never really spoken to many people that have used that catastrophic plan, but that's what they're tying to your loyalty to stay with them. But you can probably get a catastrophic plan like by Aflac or something. Brian McKenna, you say waiting on my t-shirt. Did you, were we supposed to send you something and didn't send it to you? We haven't done t-shirt giveaways for a while just because we're still trying to get up on our feet, but
Right, and
the
that's,
MLC derives its power in statute. Brian McKenna, McKenna.
right, and that and the donor list hasn't been updated either.
No, we haven't, that hasn't been done. The donor list isn't going to be updated until we get a better program to do it.
Right.
Do we read that Aetna's drug plan is 103 in September and then going up to 2024 and 135? That's another 10. Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Yes.
My severely disabled son is totally dependent on Stony Brook Hospital. He is nonverbal, non-ambulatory, feeding tube seizures. Stony Brook will not accept the new plan. Other area community hospitals transfer Greg to Stony Brook. What is my option? Judy, I don't know what union you're in, but I would start calling your union, and I would definitely call Claire Levitt at OLR. And you can even email Claire Levitt at OLR. And if you email us, we'll give you her information. Ellen Monshine, you are correct in that Medicare that you can go into a Medigap without consideration of pre-existing conditions because your Medigap has been continued. There might be some problems with that as one, technically Medicare, GHI is not technically a real Medigap. But the other problem is if you get into it, once you are in Medicare Advantage, that is when the issue would arise. What, if anything, is the role of the managerial association? Just sit and wait. I'm assuming you're talking about the MEA, but I really have, I mean, they're definitely supportive of what we're doing, but they don't really have a say. And they're not in the MLC. Yep. Michelle, have you heard of a plan called Unicare? I'm still trying to get back to DC 37 for my drug plan and medical, the 20% from 81 to 100%.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Me neither. Yolanda says OLR posted it. OLR posted what? Yolanda?
Healthcare info, I just got some messages on my phone. They just posted, let me go to OLR's website. I just got.
Of course, it's a Friday.
Of course, why not?
All right, Tom, you have a good night at work. Be safe.
Because, you know, once I post something, you know, it just like disappears, like, well, you know.
Leslie, thank you for making everything understandable. We try.
We try. All right, let's see what OLR has to say.
James Lamonda, we have to opt out by June 30th. We do not have 4 months to file a brief. What do we do? James, breathe.
Right.
Gwen Miller, most, not all actives are fixed on the retro money bonus. If they get flex hours, hybrid or remote work, that's their priority. They believe their healthcare is safe. You're absolutely correct, but they're gonna learn real fast. Bless you. Janet Cobrit, they said that this was a national plan, so we have to wait and see how national it really is. But that's our homework for next week, which we will be announcing on Monday. Renee Dinnerstein, I think we should ask any of our doctors who won't take, Renee, that's coming next week. No jumping the gun. Relax this weekend because we're going to work your butt off next week. You're going to have homework every day.
Oh, we're gonna get a letter from Renee Campion.
Susan Resnick, we've answered this question several times. If we opt out, do we lose welfare benefits? Please answer this question. We've answered it several times. You don't lose your welfare fund benefits. Welfare fund is defined as prescription, vision, and dental. And that's prescription if your union provides it, not you're paying for it.
I think part of the confusion is that all unions are
Have
not
something different.
identical.
Right. Yeah, Marcia said that.
Right.
Dave says, can the council actually still pass a law protecting us that is now unavailable, or is that unavailable? No, we are working on legislation. Like the right kind of legislation, not what the MLC wanted to give us. Lorraine, they've not absolutely spelled out what will happen with the split families. It's kind of hypothetical. Patricia Pam says, someone once mentioned that Al Shanker only took a teacher's salary so that he could live like they did and understood what they understood. I heard that too. Clearly, union presidents today don't do that. Barbara His Nielsen, our website is www.nycretirees.org. Tom Tuna, can you do a YouTube on the way unions voted yesterday? Would be great to share that with the active. I could do that, Tom. Do we have lawn signs calling out the unions working against us? I would donate to lawn signs or mega billboards. I don't know, like a big billboard over the BQE or something. We'd have to look at that. Let me, if anyone on here knows anyone that does billboards or owns billboards, let me know if they're willing to donate one. Someone's got to know somebody. There are some questions from managerial employees. I'm not seeing a question unless I'm missing it, and if we haven't answered it, I'm sure they'll email us. Barry, if you're in Medicare Part C, which is Medicare Advantage, yes, you still get Medicare B reimbursement. Sandra Roberson, I get dental and vision from the management benefit fund. Would that still be the case if this goes through? Yes. Barbara, Roberta Gonzalez, what happens to managerial drug rider and the hospital? Well, the drug rider you still keep, well, the drug rider you'd have, if you're in the Medicare Advantage plan, according to what they gave us preliminarily, the summary, you go into their drug rider, and according to them, their plan includes the hospitalization, so you wouldn't need the hospitalization rider. But again, we have to wait for the official paperwork to come out. We don't have that right now. We just have a summary. Dave Lariello, I just found out today that living in South Carolina, which is me, if I opt out of the new map when it comes, disabled under 65 has to pay 3 times more for Medigap until I got 65. We've heard that too. I've been watching Randy Weingarten on television for the last 2 months and think that she's careless about, she can care less about teachers. She sounds like a nut job. I think Mike Pompeo would probably say the same thing. Thank you for all you've done. We've been with you since the beginning and we'll be with you till the end. Thank you, Deborah Sue. This should be a status update, not an individual counseling on your particular benefits. Call your union or OLR. I know, it's almost 2 hours we're doing this, so I'm just going to quickly scroll through this and then we're going to call it a night because I did want to end at 9 because I am tired.
I know, so my.
Carol Kramer, does this Aetna plan affect Medicare eligible non-union retirees? Do we lose coverage? No, you still have coverage.
All right, I just downloaded all the documents on OLR.
Okay. Well, we'll chat quick when this is over. Can AFSCME help us? Lee, are you kidding me? AFSCME doesn't even bother. And neither does the AFL-CIO before you ask that. Will we have the same judge for our new lawsuits as previous? Probably. Rosalie Isolde, I think we have been nice to this point. Is it time to take the gloves off? But seriously, you're appreciated too. Thank you. Well, Rosalie, in a private message to Michelle, why don't you tell us what you might have in mind? Yes, Advantage plans receive Part C, Barry. I think I've answered that several times. You get Medicare B reimbursement. So most of these other questions are still what ifs, and I don't want to keep going over them because we've been at this all night. So what I'd like to just say is that we want you to stay calm, like Michelle and I have been telling you, and Carol, and just wait and see, because, you know, things are fluid and there's still so much more to happen. This has got to go through contract approval by the controller, and then, you know, there's it's just a whole bunch of processes. So just relax and we will keep you posted. Nothing is going to end up happening on the weekend. We'll close down the page like we usually do so everyone can get a break, and then Monday the page will open back up and you will all have homework on Monday.
Right.
So please share the love with everybody. Thank you, moderators. Thank Joe for the website.
Again, guys, don't panic, please, just stay calm, okay? And again, just like I'm looking at the OLR site and it says it intends to implement.
Intends.
I love it. I love the word.
Remember, they intended to start the implement the Medicare Advantage plan last year. Not to say, you know, but just be hopeful and stay positive.
Yeah. Again, stay positive, okay? Don't panic. We will keep you updated as it comes along, okay? So.
And you're
you know.
freaking out about doctors in other states, and there's really, you are going to learn that next week. So hang tight. Because we're going to help you get to the bottom of that.
Right.
If you didn't hear your question answered, please go back and listen to this. Just set your phone on play afterwards. It'll be up here. Yes, Doreen, we will post this live on video up on YouTube. But because it's 2 hours, it will probably take me a very long time to upload it. So be patient with me, because if I don't get it to tonight, I will do it tomorrow. And then, of course, I'll put out the email to everyone, because we do need to do that and let the email people know exactly what's been going on. Laurel Swan is a billboard in Times Square, $150 a minute. Laurel, let us know what that is if there's a phone number, and then maybe someone owns it and we can make friends. So let us know.
Maybe they would donate to the cause.
You never know. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. You know, for all of you in MEA that are asking a million questions that I've answered several times, please call MEA or look on MEA's website, because they're usually very good about putting out information. Until it's made public, we can't answer all of your questions.
Right. Again, there's no contract. We don't have the answers, and you know,
right now it's a hypothetical.
It's theory. Like, you know, anybody watch The Big Bang Theory? Like, you know, string theory, you know, so again, it's the same thing. It's a theoretical contract. So we really don't know what's in it. But they have an EOC of some sort up on the OLR website that we do need to read. So there's something on there. I don't know what the EOC is about.
Did you download it? So we'll look at it on Sunday.
Because before you know it, it's going to be gone.
Yeah, Sunday will be the day we'll go over that.
Yeah.
So everybody, we're going to call it a night. It's been a pleasure again to be with you guys today. Be patient, be positive, be hopeful, spread the word. Rest this weekend, because you're going to work on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to make a few phone calls on Monday, but hang in there. And remember, everything is still speculation. Yes, George, we're still live. Oh my God, I know. 2 hours later, George. This was like our early days when we were doing this for hours, but I'm going to call it a night. I think I've done everything on my list here.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not-
Okay. All right. All righty, guys. Stay calm. All right. It's all right. It's gonna be okay.
Have a great weekend. We love you.
All righty.
Ciao. Mwah.